Welcome everybody to the official Insurance Toolkits demo for Lionhart Financial Group. Now, for those of you signing up for the first time here, I'm going to take one quick step backwards and I'm going to go to our homepage here, which is insurancetoolkits.com, and I'm going to click the sign up tab here. And you'll notice that when I click on the sign up button, you're going to have the ability to enter in your personal information as well as your password. But direct your attention here to the promo code box. We do have a specific promo code for Lionhart Financial Group agents, which is going to be Lionhart, spelled the same way as the agent, 15, as the agency, so Lionhart 15. Click apply, and you will see the 15% discount is added here, as well as it's taken off of the base price to give you your new price of $33.99 a month, and then $101.99 a month for the agency plan. So once you go ahead and sign up, to ensure that you did it correctly, you will notice in the upper left-hand corner is the Lionhart Financial Group logo. And you have various tabs here that we're going to kind of go through as the demo proceeds. But just to get started here, we're going to start on the quarter page. So you do have the ability to switch between both final expense and term. You'll notice that the user interface looks the same. The only difference is when you're on the term toolkit here, you can, quote, return a premium by simply enabling or disabling this switch here by clicking on the toggle. And then you also have the ability to select the term length for whatever term policy you're going to be quoting for your prospect. Now, heading back over to the final expense toolkit here, you do have the ability to run a coverage options, whether it's going to be the face amount, given maybe $25,000, or if your client doesn't know how much they want, but they do know how much their budget is, maybe you can run a quote off of the premium instead. So you have the ability to choose whichever you'd like. So I'll type in 25,000. You have the ability to change your coverage type here, so you can go between level, graded or modified, limited pay, guaranteed issue. We always recommend just to leave it at level because our system here at Insurance Toolkits is fully integrated with each carrier's back-end underwriting guidelines for each product with every carrier across all 50 states. And we do have a full-time team working around the clock to make sure that that's updated in real time. So with that being said, by leaving your coverage type as level, when we get over to the drug and health information side, which is also known as our real-time underwriting platform, we're going to actually run these real-time underwriting scenarios and send them off to the carriers using all their back-end underwriting guidelines. And we're going to match you up with the carrier and the specific product that your prospect qualifies for based upon what you have entered. So even if you leave it at level, we're still going to show you all the options that they qualify for. Moving along here, you can select the sex of your client, whether it's male or female. You do have the ability to change your default state. So if we take a quick little side note here and hop over to the account tab here, click on the award account. You have your referral link here that you can send off to other agents who you may find interest in using Insurance Toolkits. For every agent who signs up and makes their first successful payment, you'll get a $20 credit. You can adjust your personal information as well as your password here, but direct your attention down to the preferences box here where you can actually adjust for, if you do telesales, you can enable this little toggle here. If it's highlighted in yellow, that means our platform is now going to be specifically customized for the use of telesales. So whether that's different face amounts, different e-signature methods, product availability, those sorts of things. And then you can also change your default state to whatever state that you live in or you sell in most often. So when I head back over to the quoter here, I'm going to run a $25,000 quote. You'll notice here that it defaults to the state of Ohio, so I can leave that alone. You can either use their age, but of course, this little warning pops up here. We're going to give you the most accurate results if you use their birthday. Some carriers will actually round to the next birthday. So if your client's 56 and their birthday's in a couple of weeks, we would hate for the carrier to come back and issue the policy at age 57 instead of age 56. And even though it may only be a few dollars more per month difference, for a client who may already be hesitant as it is, that could be enough of a pushback for them to kind of close the sale and back off, and then you lose the sale because of that. So we definitely want to make sure you avoid any sort of sales being lost due to something as simple as just a few dollar a month difference. So definitely use the birthday if you have that available and the client's willing to give it to you. Next up here is height and weight. Again, that is optional when running a quote, but same thing that applies to the birthday method here. The more information that you enter in, the better. Each carrier has what's called a build chart. So the build chart is going to be a certain weight requirement that your client has to fall within depending on their height. The build charts typically go from about 4'8" up to about 6'11", and depending how tall your client is, they have to fall within two different weight ranges in order to qualify for a product, or at least to get a more preferred rating class. So if they're a few pounds below or a few pounds above that, not only could they get an adverse underwriting decision entirely, but they could also see an increase in a rate if they don't get declined to begin with. So if you have the ability to enter that, again, like I said, the more information you enter in, the better. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we want to give you the most accurate information that we can because that's what our system is designed for. So in order for that to happen, then you need to make sure you're entering in as much information as you can get. So same thing with these last two options here. These are two little niche features that we offer here at Insurance Toolkits. Again, we have a combined 30 plus years of insurance experience just as in the agency side alone with our full-time team here. So with that being said, Insurance Toolkits has been made by agents for agents. We know exactly what agents in the field need. So when it comes to nicotine use, it's not just tobacco or non-tobacco. There's different options because each carrier has different requirements and different parameters when it comes to nicotine use. For example, certain carriers are going to give a more preferred rating class and a cheaper premium to someone who only smokes cigars on occasion versus somebody who smokes cigarettes on a daily basis. So you can adjust accordingly. A very common question is, what about marijuana usage? That would be entered in the medication section. So we would type in marijuana. You don't want to type in marijuana and then click enter. That's not going to give you any results. To elicit the proper result, type in the medication and then select from the drop down here, marijuana. And then it's going to give you an indication list of whether it's prescription usage or recreational, just for those of you who are curious. And then the last option here is the payment type. So of course, the bank draft, which is when the carrier automatically deducts the premium from your client's bank account, whether that's on a monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual basis. That's going to give you the biggest pool of carriers to choose from. But if your client notifies you ahead of time that they do not have a bank account, you can select Direct Express if they're on Social Security. You can select credit card or even a prepaid debit card if they have access to that. And if you notice here, we put all these in order of how they should be asked during the presentation. So when I click Get Quote here for a $25,000 quote for a male in Ohio who's 56, 6'1", 180 pounds, doesn't smoke, and only has a debit card, when I click Get Quote, we're only going to show you carriers that will accept debit card as a payment type for that first month. So when you get to the end of the application, whether it's in person or over the phone, you're not going to get hung up on the payment portion, because if we can't get the payment information, then we can't submit the application, of course. So we'll go over the results here in a second. I want to hop over here to the underwriting portion. So under the drug and health information section is where you're going to really be able to eliminate the guessing out of the applying process. What I mean by that is we're no longer going to be submitting applications and crossing our fingers and hope they get approved. We're not going to have products and policies pending in underwriting for weeks on end and having to call doctors and having to call the client and just adding unnecessary fluff to the process of selling insurance, because we have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's in best interest of the client, which also means to do what's in best interest of the agent to make sure that we're putting our clients in the best position. So by using Insurance Toolkits, we can not only get our prospects quoted, underwritten, and placed with the best carrier, but we can make sure that those policies are getting pushed through, they're getting issued, and the agent's getting paid in a reasonable amount of time. So health conditions, you can enter in any sort of health condition as it pertains to underwriting. Of course, if they're medicated for something, then you want to make sure you enter that as a medication. Where you would use the health condition box could be for something like a felony. That could be something like maybe your client's permanently disabled and they're confined to a wheelchair, or they're recovering from a hip surgery and they're not confined to a wheelchair. Maybe they live in a nursing home or assisted living facility, like I mentioned. Maybe they have a felony. Whatever the case is, you can enter that as a health condition. Cancer is a very complex one. A lot of the agents rely on our system for underwriting cancer properly with all the carriers. So, of course, current cancer, that's going to include everything excluding basal and squamous cell skin cancer. And then past cancer, again, will include anything except those two. Basal cell and squamous, you can independently select those here, or even amputation due to cancer. So I'm going to select past cancer here to show you guys how we use drill down questions, or as some underwriters call them, fringe questions in the underwriting process. So by selecting past cancer, we'll then be indicated to select what cancer did they have. If you don't see it on this list, you can select other, but most often you're going to see it on this list. We'll select maybe we can do leukemia. We're going to go to the date of last treatment. It's very common that not every person's going to know the exact day, time of day and month and week they took that medication or when they were last treated for it. If they do, awesome. If not, ensure that you get that client on the phone with their doctor and try to get it done right then and there. The same thing that I applied earlier with the birthday and the height and weight, the more accurate that you are when entering in this information, the more accurate the results are going to be. So the date of last treatment, maybe it was 2019. They were diagnosed possibly on September 19th of 2015. Has the prospect ever had cancer more than once? We can say yes or no. And again, you don't have to have any sort of pharmaceutical knowledge or medical knowledge here. We're just going to be asking the client the questions as we see them on the screen. And of course, if the client doesn't know the answer, get them on the phone with their doctor and just try to get it done right then and there. So you're not submitting applications and then it gets kicked back from underwriting, and then you're doing that whole rat race of having to chase down letters and doctor's notes and calling people. It becomes an issue. Once you've selected all the drill down questions, you've now successfully added in past cancer, specifically leukemia, the date of diagnosis, the date of the last treatment, as well as all those drill down questions that are going to make sure that when you click get quote here at the bottom, we're going to pair you up with the best product and carrier for your client to make sure they get approved. Now for the medications box, a little bit different because we're going to be selecting, let's use metformin as a very common medication for diabetes. You would select the combination they take here. So in this case, I'll select metformin. We can say it was for diabetes. Of course, you have different options here. Diabetes. Same thing applies as before. Date of first fill. When did they first fill that medication? Maybe it was early April, we could say. So we could do April 6th of 2018. The date of first fill is important as a side note because a lot of carriers will decline, not because your client takes metformin for diabetes, but if the first fill of that prescription was either prior to age 49 or prior to age 50. Some carriers are a little bit different. But if it was first prescribed and filled prior to those ages, a lot of carriers will auto decline for that. So make sure that you get as accurate as you can with this information. And then I'm going to leave this box selected because they're currently taking it still. Again, ask the questions as they appear on the screen. Yes or no. Has the medications or dosages changed? Yes or no. A1C level, was it less than 8%? We'll say yes. So now not only do we add metformin, but we also added the health condition, and we also added the timeline of use, as well as all of those drill down questions. Now, to show you guys some of the complexity and the intuitive nature of our system, I'm going to go ahead up here and type in another medication. Before I continue on, I'm going to misspell this intentionally. So gabapentin obviously is G-A-B-A-P, but if I put an O instead of a P, we actually do predictive text. So we're going to assume, based off of what you've entered so far, what medication that you were searching for, just because we know that in the field, medications are already hard enough to spell as it is, and especially if the prospect doesn't know how to spell it, it can be almost a nightmare to try to find them, especially if they're taking multiple medications. So I'm going to select gabapentin here, and I'm going to say that they're taking it for, let's say, chronic pain. Now, in a moment here, you're going to see something pop up, and I'll get to that here in just a second. Date of first fill, we can do 2020. Now, when I click next, you're going to see I added in gabapentin, and then this automatically pops up. So if you hover over this light bulb here, this condition was auto-added due to the combination of the drug and health conditions. So because we added metformin and gabapentin, there is an incredibly, we can't say 100% certain, but there is a very, very, very high likelihood that the client also has diabetic neuropathy. The client may not even be aware of this, or they may have forgotten at this point, but because of the combination of medications, we auto-add health conditions due to any sort of combination of different drugs that would indicate that condition is also in the mix. So this is this feature alone is such a benefit in the field, because had you not had this auto-added, you would have submitted the application, and then when you get a kickback from underwriting because you didn't know the client had diabetic neuropathy of the nerve, that can cause a whole other storm of issues there. It could cause a policy to get declined. It could push the client away, or see a huge increase in the premium. So we'll go through here, and again, just being open and honest with the client, being transparent. When did you last treated for that condition, date of diagnosis, so on and so forth. Make sure that you're selecting the appropriate dates. Insulin use, yes or no. This will change the underwriting dramatically, but I'm going to say yes, uncontrolled, and then we'll say yes again. And then just so you guys can see what it's like to add something that's not a health condition, I'll click felony. I will do convicted maybe July of 2015, and then I'll add that as well. So you can see here we have a pretty lengthy amount of underwriting here, not just medications, not just health conditions, not just criminal history or underwriting or driving records if they want to do suspended driver's license, things along those lines. But you can add all types of things. Anything that pertains and relates to underwriting can be input into the system. And then I'll also do a suspended driver's license, and we'll say it was not because of the DUI. That happened in 2014, and then we'll add that as well. So now when I click Get Quote, we're not just going to be running the quote based off of the coverage option you selected and the personal client's information, but we're doing a real-time underwriting analysis with all the stuff you've entered, and now we're only going to show you products that your client is fully eligible for. So of course, because this is a pretty substantial amount of health conditions, cancer, diabetes, and so on and so forth, felonies and so forth, you're going to have a pretty limited range here of results, but you know and you can be confident that your client will qualify for this. So we're going to give you the name of the company, the monthly premium, the name of the product, as well as the coverage type if applicable. So in this case, the first and best option for your client is going to be Corebridge. It's going to be $129 a month. Simply Now Legacy is going to be the name of the product. If you want to hover over and see the grading schedule, you can hover over the little information icon and we'll give you the plan information breakdown. If you hover over the question mark, it'll tell you why they're qualifying for Simply Now Legacy. It's because you answered yes, the insulin use question. Now, if I go up here and I delete some of these, say I take all these off and I just leave metformin and I click Get Quote, you're going to see we have certain options that pop up. And as well, if I change this from debit card back to bank draft and click Run Quote again, you're going to see a new set of carriers pop up. So you can see how our system is very, very key to any of these sort of payment type changes, medication changes, health conditions. We're very, very on top of this. We give you real-time underwriting results here so that when you submit the application, you can move on to the next client and make sure you're getting as much help as you possibly can without having to stress about calling carriers and flipping through underwriting guidelines and manuals and those sorts of things. Again, any carrier that offers true Social Security billing, we're going to identify with a little gold star right here. Now, let's say in this case, you want to close your client on Mutual of Omaha, and you don't know exactly how much they want. You can actually click this little compare tool here. So if you want to go over there manually, you can select the quote compare tab here. But if I click the compare tool here, it's going to not only bring over the client's information as well as the coverage type that we selected, but also the name of the carrier and the product. Now I can actually quote, maybe I want to compare $10,000, $12,500, and $15,000 to the face amount. Now when I click Get Quote, it's going to show me three options: the bronze, silver, and gold. Some people call it a three-option close, but the long story is here, or the short story is here. We give you all three face amounts, the monthly premium, as well as the monthly cost if you want to upsell them and add some accidental death coverage to their policy. And then again, we give you access directly to the e-application from here. Back on the quoter page, again, we also give you direct access to the e-application here if they have it available. Some carriers, if I scroll down here, or pretty much every carrier in this instance is going to have availability to go to the e-app. You can compare the quotes. If you want to get a little more information about a product, you can click the drop-down arrow. It'll give you the annual rate for that product. You can actually push them to our CRM. So if I click Push the CRM, I can type in my client's name. I'll type in my client's name, whatever whatever your client's name is. The date that you added them was all automatically pre-filled. You can enter in birthday, address, phone number, etc., and then click Save. And now my client's information, as well as the product that I selected, is going to be saved up here into our CRM, which I will go to here in just a moment. Some carriers like Mutual of Omaha, if I click the drop-down arrow, we also give you the accidental death monthly rate and annual premium there with the discount included. So as we know, if you pay on an annual basis rather than monthly, the carriers give your prospect a little bit of a discount. So we give you all that information as well. And if you scroll down a little further here, you'll see that some of these carriers have a little icons next to them, whether that's, I may wonder why my client only qualifies for standard. Well, it's because they were treated with metformin for diabetes. That's the reason why. If there's a little money sign here, the little dollar sign here, that's a compensation related notification. So in this case, if you hover over the icon, it's going to give you heads up saying, hey, for Eagle Level, just so you know, the commission cut is up to 15% for any client between the ages of 50 and 59. Just gives you kind of a heads up there. And then these little information icons here give you the plan breakdown. So for graded, modified issue, or modified and guaranteed issue, they have a grading schedule. So with that being said, the plan information, we actually give that to you. So some of these are pretty complex, some of these are pretty basic, but we want you to have access to that. And then any carrier that shows up down here, these are just products that your client does not qualify for. And to take it a step further, we give you the specific reason why. So whether Occidental Life, American Guardian, they didn't qualify for it because of the height weight restrictions. Forrester's Bright Future, they didn't qualify for it because they take metformin for diabetes. Certain carriers don't offer a product in that state, so on and so forth. We give you the specific reasons why they don't qualify for, just to kind of help you when moving along through the sales process. Hopping over the quote compare screen, like I said, it will bring over the client's information automatically. So you can either quote by face amount or premium. You can also change the company name as well as the product here. We do offer what's called a quick quoter. So if we go over to the quick quoter here, if you're just wanting to get a whole bunch of quotes, $15,000 for a, let's say, 55-year-old male in Ohio, click get quote. We're going to give you the company name, the monthly premium, and then what the coverage type and product name is here. So a lot of people like this feature. It was heavily requested, so we actually brought this back recently. And you have all of these just right in front of you just to get some quick quotes. Now, moving along here, hopping over to the CRM, like I had mentioned earlier, when we had clicked that little drop-down arrow and added that client to the CRM, you have your dashboard here, of course, which gives you your clients' names, the date that you added them in, the annual premium, the product name, etc. We do offer the ability to track your statistics of all the sales you've made. You could add reminders in here. So title, date, you can add what time that reminder is to go off, if it's going to be recurring or not, when do you want that reminder to be given to you. We have a calendar here. You can track all your appointments. So a whole bunch of really awesome stuff to use when you're in the field. Or if I click on the clients tab here, I can expand on a client, for example, that one that I just used and sold and saved in here. And at any point, if I want to go back to that client, all I have to do is click load quote file, click that button, and it's going to open up the quote as we left it. The face amount that we ran, all the personal information, the drug and health information that we entered, and then we can pick up right from where we left off. If we're doing maybe an annual review, meeting with the wife, or so on and so forth. So CRM is definitely a huge feature that we offer here. You can also save a quote. So if you don't want to save it to the CRM, but you do want to go back and visit a quote later, instead of saving it to the CRM, you can actually save it to your computer. So if I click save here, it's going to download that file of that client's information right to my desktop or to my downloads folder, wherever you have set as your default download folder here. And I can either A, clear the field and load that quote back in, or B, if I don't want to run a final expense quote, but I do want to change it over to term, instead of asking the client those questions again, I'm going to just go over to term. I'm going to click load. And because all that was saved right to my computer, I'm just going to double click. I'm going to go to that my downloads folder really quick. And I'm actually going to be able to pull that quote right back into the system. And basically what that allows you to do, instead of having to ask the client all those questions again and go through the whole sales process, I'm going to just click on that file. It's gonna input everything that we just entered in the client system or the system for that client. Now we're going ahead and running a term quote instead. So super easy. We clear the fields out here. As we move along here, I'll go back to the quarter page. We also have the ability to switch between, we'll go to the CRM here. We also have a leads platform. So in the leads platform here, pull this up at the end. You could actually go look at the different campaigns. So the real-time campaigns are going to be listed here. If you want to purchase marketplace leads, they're going to be listed here. So the leads platform entirely, we create all these leads and generate them in-house. So for the real-time leads, the reason that we kind of offered this to our agents is because a lot of agents need leads and they want real-time leads and they want to be the only agent that are using those leads. So because of that, we offer real-time exclusive leads as well as real-time platinum leads for both final expense and Medicare as well. So the exclusive leads, of course, are going to be exclusive to you as the agent for the first 30 days. And of course, if you mark that client as sold, we're not going to resell that lead at all. And if you order a platinum final expense lead, it's the same thing as an exclusive lead, except we're going to give you a budget commitment from the client as well. So you get the exclusivity of having that be the only person that's getting that lead is you. And then by having the budget commitment from the client, it completely eliminates the I thought this was free or the I can't afford this. Those objections get completely taken off the table because your client was required to give a budget commitment ahead of time. So you get a lot of information there. So if you guys want more information on the actual leads platform itself, you can go ahead and email me. It's going to be colton@fextoolkit.com. And we can do a one-on-one. But I did want to show you guys this in the demo. And then we also have a marketplace order. So these are going to be aged leads. So you can select whatever type of lead you're looking for. I'm going to click exclusive final expense. And maybe I only want leads that are 30 to 90 days old. And you're going to see here the interactive heat map is going to adjust accordingly. You can select whatever state that you're looking at here. You can search statewide. But if there's too many results, it's not going to be able to list them all. So you can zoom in a little bit, and you can actually get county specific here. So I'll select a few different counties in Florida, click search, and then it's going to give you the state that the lead is in, the city, the age of the lead, what category that lead falls under, how many are available, and then the price per lead as well. So very nice to have access to both the real-time leads to get those fresh exclusive leads, and then to kind of make up for some of the volume. If you want to work higher volume, you can purchase some marketplace leads. And then, of course, you'd be managing the funds and adding money into your leads account here. Keep in mind, this is all non-refundable. So when you add money into the account, make sure you're only adding the amount of money that you're going to be spending on the leads. And as an overall kind of wrap up of the demonstration here, keep in mind our system is fully integrated with each carrier. For all you Lionhart agents, make sure that you're using the code Lionhart15 because that's going to not only tie you to the agency account, but that's going to give you the 15% monthly discount. So hope you guys enjoy the demo today. If there's any question that you have or anything that I can explain a little more in depth to make it more clear for you, please shoot me an email. My email will be in the description box below. You can email Colton at fdxtoolkit.com or support@insurancetoolkits.com. Or since you're already going to be heading to our website, you can go to insurancetoolkits.com and use our live chat feature and get an answer from one of us in real time. So thank you guys so much for watching, and let us know if you have any questions.